last year I started watching Steven Universe for the first time, and I really liked it. It was a really, really good show. I expected to like it. Based off of what I knew about it, based off of the people who were recommending it to me, I was like, yeah, so it's clearly a show I was going to like. I ended up liking it like in ways I wasn't expecting. There was just certain episodes that hit me way harder than I ever imagined, like this, cute little kid show was ever going to. And last year, I just, while watching it, I just stopped. I got through season 1, watched a little bit of season 2, and then fucking stopped. Because that's just what I fucking do sometimes. I just stopped doing things. I didn't go back to it. I was probably distracted watching some garbage show called Dragon Ball Super. Probably. I don't fucking remember. I just know that I stopped watching Steven Universe, unfortunately. And I decided to go back. I wanted to go back to that show, and very specifically, I wanted to, start over. Because there's a lot of things I just didn't know about the show. There's a lot of things that I felt like, because I didn't really appreciate the early episodes the first go around. And something that I learned with, rewatching Utena is that, if I didn't really appreciate earlier episodes and thought, maybe they kind of sucked, it's maybe it's because I didn't have the right context. Maybe I didn't quite understand what the show was going for, what groundwork the show was laying. So, I decided to, do Steven Universe from the beginning. Also, this allows me to talk about Steven Universe from the beginning. Because when I watched it the first time, I did actually record a video. I did a podcast with Gabby, and it never graced the face of the internet. Mostly because it was just kind of unfocused and, we were kind of all over the place and we were trying to, encapsulate all of season 1, and Gabby didn't really watch the first half that much. She had watched all of the first season, but she couldn't recall a lot of the earlier episodes, and we were kind of really focusing on the back end of it. But, yeah. So this gives me a chance to just sit down solo and talk about Steven Universe. As of this recording, I have watched the first half of season 1. The reason I'm doing only half of the season, because the first season is fucking long. And I didn't want to try to encapsulate all of my thoughts and feelings on the entire first season when I know I'm going to have a lot to say about the second half. And trying to think about 50 plus episodes of goddamn Steven Universe just sounds like a goddamn headache. So yeah, Steven Universe, definitely glad I rewatched it from the beginning, because much like with Revolutionary Girl Utena, I did end up appreciating the earlier episodes in ways that I did not expect. In fact, when I watched the first 2 episodes, I tweeted out along with some images of the storytelling in these early episodes are so insanely good. It's so dense with information that you would not pick up on, because they seem like a couple of just kind of dopey, fun little standalone episodes. But with the greater context of the rest of the series, and there's so many little things that the show hints at, if you're not really paying attention, if you don't really understand what show you're about to get into. And some of these things I had picked up on, I was like, oh, okay, I think that line delivery is a little odd, and I feel it's kind of some foreshadowing for something, or maybe that's kind of an odd dynamic. But, here, having the full scope of, what I had already known from all of season 1, a little bit of season 2 that I had seen, yeah, just those first 2 episodes are so rich with information. Steven, his dynamic with the gems, just the concept of the gems, their dynamic with Greg, Steven's father, Steven's kind of social stance within this world, how there are all these fucking normal human beings, but then there are also, these crazy powerful gem warriors, and just there's just so much there, and just the information, the stuff with Steven's mother and her history with her dad. We get little glimpses of that. There's so many little breadcrumbs and things just kind of scattered about in these first 2 episodes, and just the episodes themselves are legitimately really good. I mean, they do a great job of establishing the gems themselves, their personalities, their power sets. The first episode obviously also establishes Steven's power, and also kind of, he clearly doesn't know how to use his power. It's the first time he's ever been able to tap into his power. And it's just so well executed. And then there's just, you know, the stuff with his dad and just like the dynamic he has with his father, and he's just like, oh, like I'm not supposed to get involved in gem stuff. They told me not to really fuck with that, because like you automatically understand that like he understands he's completely out of his depth, and you automatically understand that's like, okay, so you know the gems are raising his son because his mother was one of them. And, you know, we know that his mother doesn't exist because of Steven. And, you know, we don't really get the specifics on that, but, you know, at this point, you know, like I said, it's all about the breadcrumbs. And it just does, like, it is so dense and rich with information and little bits of lore that are, it's phenomenal. Like it's not like, it's because it's laid out in a way that if you're looking for it, and if you know what you're looking for, it's like, oh, there's that, and there's that, and there's that. But also just, like, when these reveals start coming later in the series, they're not just completely out of left field bullshit. It doesn't feel like the writers are just pulling stuff out of their ass. Maybe that's what the show becomes later. I keep hearing people say, like, you know, Steven Universe becomes, like, a big fucking mess later on. And it's kind of, like, it's like a clusterfuck punctuated with, like, really good emotional moments. Is kind of the vibe I'm getting based on what people are talking about. Do not spoil Steven Universe for me. I have done a really good job of not having Steven Universe spoiled for me. Like all the things I experienced in the first season and like the early second season stuff, I had no clue about. Like I knew like the base premise and that was about it. And even then, like I didn't really know that much about it. So yeah. Do not start fucking putting Steven Universe spoilers in the comments. Thank you very much. But yeah, the first season, the first half of this season, because really, I mean, it feels like a full contained season with like a kind of a cliffhanger ending of, oh, what's going on? But, you know, for some reason, just fucking season 2 or season 1 is fucking massive. But, you know, from there on, though, you know, we get introduced to a lot of the characters, we get a lot of slice of life stuff, and just every episode, or not every episode, there's a lot, like just a lot of the episodes are kind of introducing like kind of the lore of the crystal gems and these little tiny bite-sized bits, like the artifacts that they're collecting, like the gem monsters that they're fighting, just all these little things that we're getting. We're getting to see like how their dynamic with Steven works and how each one has their own kind of dynamic with him, how Pearl is very, very protective over Steven. And she clearly has what feels like at first a very motherly vibe over him, and it's not quite clear why. And, you know, obviously it's going to be revealed. Like, within this, 26 episode chunk of episodes, it is, within the first half of season 1, it is still not revealed, like, definitely, like, Pearl's whole backstory, you know, because I already know about, obviously, I know about the Rose Quartz stuff, and like her, like their dynamic, and how she feels about Greg, and how she feels about Steven, but like the way it's laid out, because it was a couple of episodes, like I feel like I was about halfway into the first, a quarter away into season 1 the first time, where I was just like, does Pearl have a thing for Steven's mom? Is that what's... And yeah, that's exactly what it is, but like it's so subtle that like you could just like, you know, let it, you know, slip on right by you. And like I feel like I'm very kind of, I don't know, like maybe I'm just always looking for queer subtext in my fucking entertainment because there's so little of it these days, or just in general. You know, but, you know, it's like a lot of entertainment tries to slip that in. And I already knew that Steven Universe was a very queer-friendly show. So, it was, like, so I think I might have already been looking for it in general. And so, yeah, like, I picked up on it fairly quick. But, like, the way it's presented, you could just completely misinterpret it as she's just kind of the doting motherly type. Then you have Garnet. And, oh, my God. I love the fact that just, you know, because Garnet obviously is going to be revealed to be 2 separate characters. I love how they're already kind of hinting at that fact. Like Amethyst always calls her the G Squad because she's two people. The fact that she has the 2 gems as opposed to, 1 gem, because the other 2 have a single gem, but Garnet right from the get-go has 2 gems. And she also has 3 eyes. And we learn later on that a lot of fusions end up having multiple eyes because they're combinations of different characters. So yeah, that's a lot of really cool bits of information that the story is just kind of telling you visually without just immediately giving it away. Then there's Amethyst, which right now Amethyst just really kind of comes off as the kind of just brash, fucking, sloppy, fucking lazy one that's just, and I already know there's some stuff in her past. I've gotten far enough to know that there's some shit in her past. And I'm looking forward to seeing where the rest of that ends up going. Hopefully it goes someplace good. But yeah, like, just, even though, like, just Pearl is the doting motherly one, like, Amethyst kind of has, like, that, she kind of treats Steven more like an equal, kind of goofs around with him a lot more. And then with Garnet, she is, like, kind of almost a strict mother of the type. She is, like Amethyst is, like, the cool aunt, and Garnet is almost like kind of like, the stricter mother type. But she also kind of comes up as a very emotionally walled off, but you can clearly see, even though she kind of has a stoicism to it, she clearly cares about Steven a lot. Like, she is willing to put herself into situations that the kind of stoic archetypal character would not put themselves in for another character. Like the way she will just entertain Steven's kind of, kiddish little bullshit that he always likes to do. And that's really delightful. And, Amethyst, like I said, she kind of treats him more like an equal, because she's just very childish in herself. So yeah, their dynamic with Steven, I really enjoy. I also really kind of enjoy their dynamic with Greg, where it's just like, they don't really treat him like a nuisance. I mean, Pearl right from the get-go, like, you can always tell there's some animosity there. But, with the group in general, it's just like, yeah, Greg, you really shouldn't be here. This is gem business, and you're kind of a dumb, flabby human. You're really out of your depth, bro. And he understands it. Like, he understands that there's just this whole fucking magical world that he does not belong in, that he does not belong to, and that his son is part of that world, and, like, he leaves his son in their care, because he views that as, that's the more responsible option. Like, he's giving his son a life that he could not give his son. And, yeah, it's, like, I love Greg. Greg is just the best dad. He feels so because, he's trying to be kind of cool, but he's also kind of a dork, but he's also kind of cool because he's kind of a dork and just fucking owns it. He's kind of like a slob, and just, like, he feels like a dad. Like, he legitimately feels like just, kind of like your average balding schlubby dad guy that you if you didn't have a dad like this, you have known someone who has a dad like this guy. And yeah, he feels so grounded. And my favorite fucking line within this block of episodes, oh god, there's so many. Like, okay, first off, you could say, like, before I jump into my favorite line, is the episode where Steven becomes a horrific blobule cat monster, totally referencing Akira. In that episode, Steven is, like, freaking out. He's just like, I'm a monster, Dad. He goes, and his father's just tears in his eyes. No, you're not. You're my son. And it's good. It's emotional. It's a genuinely emotional moment in a scene that is both equal parts hilarious and nightmare fuel. And that is the magic of Steven Universe. When Steven Universe is just running on all fucking cylinders, it can hit you with like a bit of the emotion, as well as like hit you with like just, ooh, that's kind of horrific, and also just that's pretty fucking funny too. So yeah, just like that line from Greg, like, because that's one of the scenes where you really see like yeah, no, like, he is a father who loves his son. And you understand why, like, even though they have not spelled it out, like, you understand why Greg puts his son's development in the situation that he has with the crystal gems. But yeah, like, my favorite goddamn line is when they are... It's in the mid-season, you know, climax, you know, with Lapis Lazuli. And Greg, like hits one of the water monsters, and he has that line where he sticks his head out the van window, and he goes, "Is this how all of your magical adventures go? Because, son, I'm not sure I'm okay with you going on these anymore." And then he gets rocketed into the air. But, like, because from Greg's perspective, like, you know, he's just put his faith in the crystal gems, that everything's going to be okay, that would never put his baby boy in danger. But now that he is seeing it firsthand, he is just like, whoa, wait a second. This is the crazy bullshit you've been fucking doing? Like, I knew you went on, like, magical adventure missions, but, like, just that one fucking line is just so choice. It's delicious. I love it. And it's those little lines that just add so much humanity to a character that, like, if it wasn't there, it's just like, oh, it's a fun little kid's show. But there's those little lines here and there sprinkled throughout, and pretty much all the major characters get lines like that. And it's just, it works. It works so goddamn well. Speaking of humanizing characters and characters feeling real, Connie. Oh my god. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that Pearl exists in this series, Connie would be my favorite character, because she's such, like if there's a character that I empathize with the most, it is definitely Connie. Like, I understand being that kind of just generically normal, boring person who doesn't really have an interesting skill set, who isn't really particularly cool, who isn't doesn't really make friends, kind of a loner, social, recluse, all of that. Like, I totally get, like, a character like Connie, and she has, like, just so many, like, in our first episode, like, when she's trapped in the bubble at the bottom of the ocean, she's just been kind of rolling with this for a while, but then she just finally has that breakdown where she's just like, no, you keep saying everything's alright. It's not alright. You don't know what you're doing. I'm going to die, and nobody's going to care except for my parents, because I've never made any friends. And it's just, that's, fuck, man, that's some real shit. It just, Steven Universe digs in deep for that real shit. Oh, whew. So you got that. And then, like, the other thing that I loved with Connie in this block of episodes is when, like, the magic spit episode where we find out Steven has healing powers, and, like, he doesn't have healing tears, he has healing spit. And that's because, like, he fixes Connie's eyes. And Connie's immediate reaction is just, oh shit, like, what the fuck do I tell my parents? Like, that's like, how the hell do I explain that a magical boy's magical spit cured my, fixed my vision? Like, that is, like, the most grounded, real fucking response I think, like, a child could have. Because it's like, oh my god, my vision's fixed. I'm like, oh my god, how the hell am I gonna explain this to my fucking parents? Oh, man. So, yeah, and just within that episode also, like, you have Steven who's just really, really sad because, he feels like, he doesn't have, like, the magic tears, and it's a really kind of emotional moment where, Steven is just, because, like, when he's retelling the story to, Connie, he kind of twists the end of the story to where, like, Garnet's just like, well, yeah, I mean, looks like you're just gonna be useless forever. And it's just like, I don't think she said that. It's like, well, it felt like that's what it felt like, she said. And, like, that's, like, that's, once again, it's, You know, because there are certain times where people try to like let you down gently. It's like, it's okay, but it just feels like they're just basically telling you that you suck horribly. But it's okay that you suck horribly because what are you gonna do? And so yeah, like that's such like a real fucking human response to that. And then just he says like, what am I going to do if I don't have powers? If I'm not special? And Connie has that line where she says, well, then you just be like me. And that's not so bad. And once again, genuine human moments with feeling. It's I will say, if any episode like out of this whole set really just brought the feels hard, just unrelenting, in this first half of season 1, it's honestly an episode I didn't even fucking like. It is the episode where like Lars is hanging out with the cool kids, and it's like, yeah, no, I get it. Lars is gonna be a douchebag, and everyone's gonna fucking like, he's gonna be too much of a tryhard, trying to impress everybody, and they're all gonna think Steven's cool because Steven's just being natural and cool. Yeah, I get the fucking joke, and he's gonna fucking be angry at Steven for everyone liking Steven more. Yeah, I get it. But where it really culminates and really justifies its existence is at the tail end of that episode, when like the climax of that episode, where like they get like covered in Rose Quartz's growing moss stuff, and it like encapsulates the kids, and Lars is freaking out and like yelling at Steven. It's just like, it's like, all because of like you and your weird mom's weird plants. And just Steven snaps. He's just like, what do you know about my mom? I didn't even know my mom. It's just, whoa. Damn. So, like, you see, like, this, you feel it. You feel it, and it's... I completely forgot that line was in that episode. Or even that line even existed, because it's going to get completely dwarfed and replaced by other bigger fucking emotionally hitting scenes that stuck with me instead. But like it was such a disposable, like, one episode I thought was just so disposable, and then just out of nowhere, because I just fucking forgot about it, it hit me with that gut punch, and I'm just, oh damn, Steven Universe, that was uncalled for. So yeah, this first season is full of so many great episodes. I would say like the only episode I just outright did not like is the Frybo episode. The one where, like, he has like that little gem thing, and it like brings like things to life, and they put it in the Frybo costume, and Frybo goes on a fucking rampage. And it's, oh yeah, also the guys episode, like the little miniature guys and with Onion. Pretty much anything involving like the Fry family or that fucking Onion kid. I don't think I've seen anything focused on them that I actually liked. Like, as characters, they are fine, but whenever an episode is just, they are the focal point of it, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna see like a generic... Because it's not even like they're necessarily bad episodes, but it's just like they feel out of place with the rest of Steven Universe, because Steven Universe does usually have like really great lore and storytelling and character moments, and then you just have like these episodes that are just like, that was an episode of a show. I mean, it wasn't really bad, but it wasn't really good. Like, the only thing that really stood out in the Frybo episode was like, there's this like one fucking horror movie moment. Well, there's two things in that Frybo episode I like. There's like this horror movie moment where you see like just like a silhouette, and like Frybo is like, it looks like the shadows look like he is stabbing the father to death, but instead he's just shoving French fries in his mouth. Like, that was some great horror movie imagery. And also there was oh yeah, like whenever they first like send Frybo off to go do shit, and like the Fry kid is just like, let's go be kids, and it's just like, that was a great line. That got a chuckle out of me. But yeah, like the rest of the episode, sucked. Well, like I said, it doesn't suck. It's just forgettable. And like the only reason I remember it is because it's so unmemorable. like in a show that's full of so many great episodes, like that one just kind of fell so flat that I'm like, I fucking remember it. Like, I remember it better than episodes of the show that I enjoyed way more. Because I'm not going to sit here and talk about every single episode. But yeah, just, so yeah, first half of Steven Universe Season 1, great stuff. Really good foundation. Like, one of the things, like, and I'm really looking forward to, like, rewatching the second half of Season 1, because I know, like, that half of the season has just some fucking gems in it. No pun intended. That was inadvertent. Great. I lost my train of thought because I inadvertently made a stupid fucking pun. Anyhow. Yeah, I really love, like, these... But, like, even though, like, the second half is so great, like, I feel like the first half shouldn't... It shouldn't undermine, like, what the first half does. Where it's a lot of the foundational work. And I love because the story is told from Steven's perspective. And Steven is a child, and children don't have things explained to them. So by association, the audience does not have things explained to them. So you have Steven just kind of in this situation, like, he has all this fantastical shit around him, and, like, you know, all this shit's dangerous, but people really aren't telling him all the specifics because he's a fucking kid, and you just don't explain these things to kids. So, you know, we're getting the bits and pieces, and we're kind of having to fill in the gaps ourselves. At some point, you know, like I already know, like, as a series, like, especially by the end of Season 1, like, you know, Steven is just going to eventually get filled in on a lot of these bits of information, or Pearl's going to let her guard down a lot more and be more emotionally open with things. And, you know, Steven's obviously going to be able to read into that just like, you know, when the audience does. And, yeah, it's just, like, the way the narrative is crafted within the series, from what I've watched, I love. I think it's really strong writing, great character writing. Like, and it... What was it? Like, I'm also rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender. Mostly so I can do a Legend of Korra video. I said forever ago, I'm like, I'm going to do a Legend of Korra video. And then I got a GoFundMe request where someone's just like, here's $100. Do a Legend of Korra video. And I'm like, dope. And I'm finally getting around to starting that. So yeah, like I'm gonna be rewatching Avatar, and I'm gonna go on to rewatch Korra. But rewatching the early episodes of Avatar, I'm like, the writing is really uneven, and it's just like, you know, like you'll have like one scene like with like Zuko that's just really really well written, but then you'll have like kind of like some slice of life stuff in like earlier in the episode, or like in the middle of an episode. It just feels kind of flat and fluff, and like they just needed to shove something there to fill in the runtime. And yeah, it's like these early episodes of Avatar have been really uneven, and Steven Universe doesn't really have that. Like, yeah, there's a couple of flat episodes, but it's not like the writing specifically has dropped. It's just the idea for the episode just isn't anywhere near as interesting as the ideas for all the other episodes. You know, they didn't like explore a character, or give me some sort of new insight, or expand a little bit on the lore, or show me like a unique character dynamic. It was just like, oh, here's a fun little kids cartoon episode, woo woo, which is fine. They're perfectly competent. But yeah, like, just, you know, with Avatar though, like, even though like those early episodes are still good, they're damn good. Like, I feel just like, oh, this feels like it's below the standard of what I'm kind of used to. Like, you know, like whenever I think back to like things that I've watched not that long ago, like Young Justice and Steven Universe, and even something like My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, I'm like, you know, like the writing in that is like a bit more consistent. So yeah, I just thought it was interesting, worth noting. So yeah, the first half of Steven Universe Season 1, really, really good. Really looking forward to the second half. I'll like, also, I have not dropped my Utena rewatch. Utena, not that I, like, way more people are gonna watch this than they're gonna watch my fucking third Utena video, and then my video for the movie when I watch the movie. But yeah, for anyone who's curious, I have not dropped Utena to watch Steven Universe. I am just kind of alternating out, kind of like how I was, like, watching Evangelion, and then also kind of, you know, binging a bunch of Utena, and then watching some Eva, and, you know, back and forth. So yeah, Steven Universe, really dope so far. Really hope it stays dope. From what I hear, it doesn't. That's a disappointment. Till next time, Xeon, out.